how have you guys navigated the challenges of changing through a long-term relationship?
I love that we always been the type to just put our heads together and like work through things together, like from almost day one. And we barely knew each other because as soon as like we started talking, I started going through that stuff with my friends. And so she was like supporting me through that whole thing, like showing up to parties when I felt uncomfortable. Like, and we had been talking for like 2 weeks. I don't know, like.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Queerly Blax Show. I'm your host, Ashley, and I'm so happy you came by. The Queerly Blax Show aims to normalize the everyday existence of Black LGBTQIA plus individuals through an interview-style series with regular folks like you and me. So every week, a new guest shares their story and unique perspective on their existence as an LGBTQIA plus individual. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure you subscribe, download, set your reminders to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to another episode of the Queerly Blax Show. I'm your host, Ashley. I'm joined today by two special guests from the word queer. We got Ariel and Dominique. Y'all introduce yourselves to the people.
Okay. Hey, I'm Dom. This is my lovely wife, Ariel. And we run the page, the word queer, Instagram, all the social sites, the same name, the word queer. We also have a website, so check that out, www.thewordqueer.com, where we just like to share our life as a Black queer couple through our lens, in hopes that, I don't know, we could just be a representation for like just somebody out there. So we just try to share transparently what we go through as a couple, the ups, the downs, the funny, the sad, just anything anybody could think of that's real life, just so that the word queer is all this and more.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I bring to it like that psychotherapy piece. I will like plug that in because while that is my work, it's also like something that I really love that's in our relationship, because we're able to like analyze our relationship, dissect things, like work through issues. And so we also give that to the word queer, just different things that we're working through in our relationship from a psychotherapy lens, from a psychological lens, and also from like even an even wider lens, like societal lens. Because we are Black and queer. And so that comes with its own nuances and challenges. So that is another piece that we bring to the word queer.
Nice. Yeah, no, that's super dope. That's super dope. And I definitely want to dive into that. But first, when did y'all know y'all like the ladies?
Oh gosh. Oh, okay. Kindergarten for me. And I'm being totally for real. Because there was this girl in kindergarten who would mess with me, like, and mess with me, like, would hold my hand, would put her leg on mine, like in kindergarten, right? And I'm like, not saying no, because I'm like, no, I like this though, like it's cool. So it was kindergarten for me.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Should I even say that, like, on the podcast?
No, yeah, absolutely. Most people's is pretty early, so that's right in line.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Like for me, I've always been the type of person who I just like go with the flow of my life. So like I didn't know I liked girls, but I knew I felt the same way about guys and girls at a very young age. So like, I don't know, I just like the attention from everybody at a young age. And so it wasn't until I got older that I realized, like, when, I put a term to it and I'm like, oh, okay. That's why I was crushing on these women that I grew up around and just seeing these strong Black women. And I'm like, liking them a little bit more than, my friends. I'm talking about them a little bit more than my friends talking about them and all that stuff. So it was pretty young for me too. Like, I don't know, I say elementary.
But you still kind of was like, oh, the boys is cool. Like, that's cute.
Like I was still entertaining boys. I was like, they giving me gifts and stuff. Like, I'm just, oh, this is cool. Like, I like this too.
Yeah, nah. So then for both of you guys, since it was pretty young, which most people is, very young, adolescent. What was your first kind of interaction with like understanding your sexuality? So whether it been like your first boyfriend or girlfriend or anything like that, when did you kind of start journeying into figuring out what it was?
I feel like for me, I'm still kind of on that journey of like, I don't really like identify with the terms much. That's why I feel like, I guess the only term really is queer that fits me, or I feel like most comfortable labeling myself as, because I don't know, I feel like my sexuality is very fluid, and it's just over the years, like I've experienced liking boys, I've experienced liking girls. I feel like I can like anybody based on their personality, or like if we just vibing right. So yeah, so I still I don't know, maybe I'm not figuring it out anymore. Maybe like that is just who I am. Like I'm just fluid sexually.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, it is definitely was like a journey for sure. Figuring it out, because I'll say from like a societal point of view, like when I would say certain things, I would get like an awkward response, right? Because I remember being obsessed with this singer in the 10th grade. I don't know if you know her, but Corinne Bailey Rae, right?
Yeah.
I thought this woman was just wow. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm saying this kind of stuff out loud.
Mm-hmm.
And then my friend's like, oh, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay. I hear, I see the looks, right? But that was really just my first time like saying these things out loud.
Mm-hmm.
And never really pursuing anything, because like in high school I'm still entertaining boys, and then kind of, and even up until college I'm entertaining boys, but it wasn't until college, maybe like my second or third, no, maybe my second or third year, I'm like, wait a minute now, I'm kind of noticing like how I move with guys and how I move with girls, and it's completely different. And I'm like, this means something, like I need to sit down and like figure out what this means for myself. And so initially I said, okay, bisexual, right? Like,
Right.
sounds good, sounds great. It works because I'm still entertaining both.
Mm-hmm.
But then I realized, nah, I don't want to entertain both. I don't, if I'm really being for real, it's just like what's expected, it's of me. And even though it's weird because my family has never like been a family who's like, you need to do this, you need to do that with your life. My family has always given me free roam to be myself. Like my mom will even say, like, Ariel, you always been like that saying that like you march to the beat of your own drum,
Yeah.
that type of thing,
Yeah.
right? I've always grown up hearing that, but I still felt like it was expected for me to do these things. But I'm like, it's just not making sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm really being for real. So it was around like the second or third year of college where I'm like, okay, I need to figure this out. And then also, then right next after that came Dominique as I'm figuring out. And then it's all made sense
It
since
was
then.
all figured out.
Right. It was just when I saw her,
Mission
like,
complete.
oh,
Mystery
right.
solved. We're
right.
good. It's the
Right.
ladies for me.
Exactly.
Or really, it's you for me. Because if you ask my wife that question, she'll say, "I just like you." Not it's not really like she's just like, I just like you. So I don't know what
Yeah.
that. So yeah, for you it's Dom.
Yeah.
I love that.
For sure.
So then what was your coming out stories?
Coming out stories. Mine, I think. So for coming out stories, right? Like mine has a few layers to it, and I say that because like literally what helped me understand myself more was like at one point I look around and like all my friends are gay. Like everybody's a lesbian and I'm the only like not, right? And I'm like, maybe I should like take a look at that too. Like,
That was subconscious too, I imagine, right? Like you didn't
yeah,
consciously end
right.
up in, are you like an artsy person or like creative? Because normally like there's that kind of, you
Yeah.
know,
So here's the
that,
thing. So I'm in band,
there you go.
right? So yeah, I'm in band in
Yeah.
college.
Yeah.
And but still I think it was subconscious though, because it's so many different people in band. You know what I'm saying? Like it's literally I want to say like Mean Girls, like you got the different sections, right? And not everybody mean or nothing. I'm not saying that, but you know that scene in the cafeteria where they're like, you got the
this is this table, this is this table,
right.
this is the popular kids, this is like
right,
the
nerds.
nerds.
So
yeah.
And so it's several opportunities for me to choose who I want to be friends with all the time. But this is who I choose. I'm going so hard for the queer community, right? At some point, the allyship is like,
okay, girl,
you know what I mean? It's coming from the inside,
right?
So
it's a different kind of passion,
right?
It feels personal.
Exactly. So, my coming out story, as far as college goes, I didn't really have to, right? Like, they're like, girl.
We know, girl. You just had to figure it out.
Right.
we was just waiting on you.
Right. So that was that part. That was easy.
Now give me your number.
But then talking to my sister was also easy because, like, again, she's like, girl, you never talk to guys. Like, you never, like, if I ever, she knew already. And then my mom, when I finally told my mom, she was upset for like a quick second, but then she turned it around and was like, actually, I'm cool with it. And I was like, okay. Right. It was still a difficult conversation to have, like that built up anxiety. But so that's my coming out story. Like, everybody was cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I love that for you.
Sounds like, yeah, not so much on my side.
Yeah. I was a little bit different. Like, I remember I had, back in the day, I had a Tumbler page. I'm posting like all types of naked Black women on my page, like reposting or resharing, whatever the term was then, on that page. And I had the link to my page on my Instagram, and my mom decides that she wants to click on that link and go to my Tumblr page. And
Tumblr too, right?
Ooh, Tumblr was a time.
Okay, it was a time.
Tumblr was a time.
It was crazy. And then I grew up like real artsy, like I'm writing stories, poetry, and stuff like that. So also on this Tumblr page is like poems of women, like of romance and stuff like that. So my mom just spending some time on that page. She calls me and she's like, I need to ask you a question. Do you like women? And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like,
sheesh, she done found my tummy.
She didn't hold back or nothing. I was like, okay, I got a choice here. I can just lie and just be like, I don't know. I don't know, make up some lie. Or I can just like, let it out right now. This could be the time. So I decided to tell her like, yeah, I do. I don't remember like how the conversation went like after that, but she was not happy. She was pissed. Her and my dad, like, they definitely expressed how they didn't agree with it and everything. So we got off that phone call. I'm shaking. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what does this mean? Can I come back home? They're gonna pick me up like from college? Like, what's happening? Like, I'm in this dorm room, like mind going everywhere. And so I decided to write them a letter, just expressing like that just because I might like, the same sex, like that, I'm not different. I feel like y'all should be able to look past that and still love me. And just like a real personal letter, because I was way better with my words on paper than verbally, especially talking to my parents. Like, I'm scared. And so I don't know. I can't remember what happened with that letter. Like, if we had a conversation, I'm sure we had a conversation after, but that's basically how I came out to them. And then with my siblings, I didn't really come out. Like, I just came out dating Ariel, and that was that.
It's like, this is my girlfriend.
Right.
But then together.
So like me and Ariel were like messing with, like, we were getting close. Like, when we met, we started talking that same day and like never stopped talking ever since. And so my friends noticed that. And then I finally told them, like, I think I like this girl for real. And then they started being weird after that. So I had a terrible experience with like, just like being exiled or feeling exiled from my friend group. And so I'm at Hampton, like 6 hours away from my family too. Like,
oh boy,
we already hate, like, I feel like they hate
Hampton.
Me. Yeah,
I went to Howard.
Yeah,
that's where we met. And so
I went to Howard.
Reaction. Oh, did you?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
This conversation is over. No, I'm just kidding. HBC. All right. Close the laptop. We're done here. Shout out to HBCUs.
No,
HBCU
yeah.
love. Yes, indeed. Okay.
So that was a hard experience for me. So like I ended up transferring schools. Like I told my parents because I didn't, vibe with the school no more. But it was because like my whole world felt like it went upside down. And so I ended up leaving that school and kind of not trusting like making friends anymore for a couple years. Like
so you left Hampton?
Yeah, I left Hampton my second year. So I spent 2 years there. Excuse me. And then so that's how I came out and that's what happened. It was not good. It was not fun.
But y'all met before she left.
Yeah.
So then after that, how does that? Let's go on and transition right into this how we met story since we right here.
All right.
Oh yeah, how we met. So this is the part where I'm cued in to tell my part. Yeah. So we have this class together. And it's a science class, and the teacher asked us to pair up with people. And I had already peeped her because she sat in the back of the class. I sat in the front. So by the time I
peep for me, it's the peep. Like, oh,
yeah, I'd already seen her. I'm just like, I like her. So there's of course, not tens of others. Sorry, like there are other groups I can go to, but I'm like, nah, that's the one. She's in that group. So I sit down and there's some other guy who sits down too, but I don't know him. Nobody else matters in this story.
You're focused.
Right. So she starts singing a song. Elle Varner is an artist that I'm obsessed with at the time. And she starts singing it. I just make conversation about it. I'm like, oh, I love Elle Varner. We should probably like get together and like, talk about Elle Varner or something. I just make up some type of conversation.
First of all, like I'm awkward as hell. So like she came over to work with me and I'm like, I don't know what to talk about. Like, so I'm doing my work and I'm just gonna hum this song and stick to myself.
Right. So she's doing all this work. I mean, we're supposed to be doing work together, but she's okay.
You didn't do no work.
I didn't do anything.
I was mad at them, like both of them in my group. I'm like, y'all can come work with me and I have to do all of the work.
She was distracted. She give you compensation in other ways.
Right. I'm not thinking about it.
Had a different plan.
It was just dissecting.
We had to dissect the starfish. Like,
oh yeah, you got that. It ain't big enough for all of us to be doing that.
I take school seriously.
It's not that it wasn't that deep for me. So, but what was that deep was me talking to her.
Hello.
So, talk to her, give her my number. And she texted me that day. But not until she has like a panic, and then she like talks to her friends first about like, what does this mean? It's like, girl, obviously you know what it means. But she texted me that day. And yeah, we've been kicking it, like, and not just kicking it, but
yeah, some college days. So, yeah,
it moved quickly after that.
Good time.
What so was you guys each other's first girlfriend?
She was my first girlfriend.
I would say she's my first girlfriend. I think. Yes. I've dated girls and like.
I got it. You ain't claiming none of them. You ain't claiming none of them.
It wasn't like nothing official.
Yeah, you wasn't claiming none of them.
Yeah.
You're like, I experienced some other chicks, but like this.
We literally had this conversation last night. It was other girls I was entertaining, but I'm like,
nah.
Her.
Yeah. So then after that, just with I mean, both of you guys kind of still working through like, okay, I think this is where I'm going with, dating women. And then because I imagine, how long you guys been together?
10 years.
Yeah. So together in a long-term relationship, you're still growing like yourself. So how have you guys navigated the challenges of changing through a long-term relationship?
I love that we always been the type to just put our heads together and like work through things together, like from almost day one. And we barely knew each other because as soon as like we started talking, I started going through that stuff with my friends. And so she was like supporting me through that whole thing. Like showing up to parties when I felt uncomfortable. Like, and we had been talking for like 2 weeks. I don't know. Like, so I feel like that set the foundation for our relationship to like just always come back into each other whenever we feel something, like whenever we going through something, and like we can trust that the others are gonna be there to support. So I say that, like, just making sure we set that foundation. That's how we grew through life together. Like, because we had some crazy changes, like we had things we had to like unlearn, because this was my first like for real relationship. So I didn't even know like traumas that can come out and present themselves like once you do get in a relationship, and if you haven't dealt with that stuff before. So I'm like learning new things about myself, like, oh, I didn't know I was going to react that way or feel this way and stuff. So we're having to like traverse those paths together.
Yeah.
And then like Ariel with her experiences having to like figure that out. And like, I don't know, I'm glad we always had this like background of therapy and talking and just supporting each other through these milestones and changes, and being open to like learning new things together, and trying new ways to do things.
Yeah, I always say we just come from a place of just wanting to make it work. That's really it, like, period. That is it. And just everything else kind of just falls into place. And of course it don't come without no challenges, like,
For sure.
oh man, but that's it. That's the bottom line, wanting it to work, wanting to be happy.
Yeah. Now, neither one of us, like, through any of those challenges, neither one of us were gonna stop trying. So it's just when you keep trying, that's more practice under your belt. That's you're gonna get better. So
yeah, absolutely. So you guys decided to bring build a platform based around just queerness, and of course at the center of that is your relationship. Who made that decision? How did you guys arrive at that?
So I'm gonna say that it was both of us that made that decision, but it kind of came from different places.
Yeah.
So for me, I love to talk about that I'm a Capricorn, and that I think that it's really good to like show these things, right? Like, I think it's really great to show your relationship, especially not having seen this stuff growing up. Like, what was a queer relationship? I don't know, right? Like,
Yeah.
So it came from that for me. And for Dom, it kind of showed up for, I guess, maybe a similar reason. Like, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you good. Definitely like kind of a similar reason, but like I felt like we weren't being taken seriously as like a queer couple in our like personal lives, like family and friends. So I was like, what's another way that I can kind of show and prove that we are just like everybody else? Well, I feel like we were better, but that's the Aquarius in me.
Okay.
I feel like I'm better, but like how could I show that we are, just a regular relationship, right? And so when I think you came up with the idea of us starting a page, because it was years ago, like before we started, that you wanted to start different pages and show stuff, but we could never like be consistent. So that's when I finally like really liked the idea for it. So we started
when we had that angle.
Yeah.
Okay.
It made it, I don't know, I guess it made it make sense to me more.
Because like just before,
just having a page, I was just like, why?
Okay.
Like,
yeah.
But like
without meaning, like, just like, oh, we just a couple up here. Yeah. So when we did that, and like as we started, I'm like, yeah, I'm showing my family, like they gonna see. But I didn't know that it was gonna be so many other people who resonated like with the content we were putting out. So that's when it changed to like, oh, this is bigger than just what's happening in my family. Like, because I didn't have any queer friends. So I'm like, oh, okay. So this is needed. Like more things like this. So that's when they became this bigger message and this wider audience and broader meaning for me.
So that's how it started. Just lots of conversations around that. feelings like, emotionally driven too, feelings of like not being accepted, which of course was happening, right? Like kind of getting tired of being called the girls, kind of
Yeah.
tired of being friend zoned by like people around us. Like this is not a friendship. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it is, that's the
Yeah.
basis of it, but it's like,
Your
no,
little friend, have a friend.
right. Like, no, it's not that. It's not that. She not just invite me to the cookout and we not just roommates. It's not that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. How do you guys like in practice, right? Because I think this is a great nuance that people probably experience in their personal lives. Like, how have you guys navigated that, like in a practical sense? Like when you do interact with your family and it's kind of a like kind of a slight against, like, I'll give you an example at work. um I'm not, I think it's evident if you look at me that I'm gay, and I've never shied away from that. And in a casual conversation, like I bring up my wife, like, and I say it just like that, right? But some people say like, my partner, or like other words that kind of don't clearly identify what it is. What are some of the things that you guys do in your personal life practically that kind of make that clear to people that we are together?
Mm-hmm. I know I'm a my wife, like at work, at whoever I'm talking about, like, oh no, yeah, my wife, because I love to talk about her. And I'm like, oh, my wife loves to do that. My wife, and boom, that's when they find out, and I just don't care. Or if they're like, people assume husband if they see a ring on my finger,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just quick to say, no, my wife, no, she, no,
Mm-hmm.
her, like, stuff like that. But within my family, I think like us showing up and like, we don't really, I don't think I really call you my wife around my family, but I don't think not because I don't want to, or not because like, I don't know, naturally I just call you by your name, but like when we together. But I think like going to family functions and like just being close and hugged up and stuff like that. That's how I kind of my actions will show it a lot
Yeah.
more around my family.
Yeah. For me, it's the same. Like at work, it's my wife this, my wife that, all the time. All the time. Especially when I was working in like an office setting. And I also think that I also think that sometimes like, because I'm gender fluid. So like sometimes you'll absolutely be able to like see, right? Like, and I don't shy away from it either. I get, oh my gosh, it's so crazy that like people will be like he, him, like sometimes with me it's wild. But
Mm-hmm.
then I talk to other people, they're like, no, I'm like, all right, girl. But anywho, that's a side note. But
Mm-hmm.
still, I don't shy away from it at work. I'm very loudly queer. Even in my last employment, before I got this new place, I was just so loud with it. When the microaggressions would come, no, quickly, let's correct it. I'm talking about my experiences being queer. I'm just like always talking about it. I'm always talking about our page. I'm always, showing it to someone. So it's not you have to purposely go out of your way to not know
Yeah.
or to not say it
Yeah.
around me.
Yeah.
Because this one I'm talking about all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But I think that's, a part of shifting the narrative like
yeah.
daily is like that, right? Like just normalizing like you got a gay coworker. Like
Mm-hmm.
she has a wife,
Right.
they have kids, they, go on vacation just like you. They go to the bathroom, they eat dinner together, they go on
Right.
vacations just like you. It's completely normal. And so, I'm, happy that you guys navigate that way.
Yeah.
Talk about for in terms of your platform, some of the things that people can find if they, follow you guys, if they, tap into your content. What are some of the things that they can find? And then also in the past, think back to some of the content that you guys have put out, some of the most controversial things that you may have put out, or like where you had like people with totally different perspectives on some content.
We've had some stuff go viral. But like in the beginning of our like, okay, we've had some stuff go viral recently, and it seemed like the comments were kind of the same. But like in the past, we've posted something controversial, like who's the man in the relationship. Like sometimes we'll go over that subject. And the comments will be like,
oh, it's clearly her.
Yeah, which is weird.
Clearly that one.
Yeah. That the comments will be like, well, no man will want you, or something like that. And yeah, so can you repeat the question? Was it like how we handled it, or like what was the question?
Just in terms of your platform, just kind of describe some of the content, and then also like moments that you've had that have been controversial, or where you've had like maybe two different opinions on like a piece that you've put out.
Okay.
So some of our content though that we put out, most of our content just surrounds like building healthier relationships and just like pushing, like trying to stray away from the narrative that like the LGBTQ community has like toxic relationships. I just feel like that's a theme a lot of times when stereotyping like our community, that it's toxic and all that stuff. So we just try to continuously share like positive outlooks on queer relationships. But not positive as in like we just gonna talk about all the positive things in our relationship, but positive as in like you still go through things as a couple, but this is how you make it past those things. Or here are some tools to help you and your partner in your next like argument or discussion, hard conversation. So that's a lot of the focus of our content.
The regular side of being queer, not the more salacious kind of, narratives that are presented most of the time. Understand.
Right. And we I can't really think of any, like, if people, I'm sure people definitely have different opinions of of what we post and stuff.
And I asked that because when you even me starting the podcast in the very beginning, like it there would just be random things like, of course you get you're going to hell, I can't believe this is a thing. And then I had one like I guess she was like an evangelist at a church or something, like found somehow she found my page, and like through like she was like, this is crazy, I can't believe this, like what the hell is this, like it was just crazy, like this whole long like thing, like, and it just like, well, first of all, how did you even
exactly you gonna
right? And so I'm always curious
yeah.
about like, other creators and other, platforms, and how people consume and interact with, the content.
Thankfully, we don't get, look, knock on wood, we don't get too many like nasty comments.
Yeah, they're not too bad. Like on something that go viral, like
you gonna get a
down
there,
yeah. But like I know some creators who just like every time they post, it's like something nasty, and it's just like,
how are you you know?
There's people just go out their way to just it's like, just keep
it's
going.
like, what?
Like I see so many things that I don't agree with on a daily basis. If I sat and commented on I wouldn't get anything else done. I just keep scrolling. I just keep going.
That's like, I feel like these people just sitting at home, like just letting this stuff consume them, like letting somebody else's life that is not affecting them, like consume them. And it doesn't make sense. It'll never make sense to me. Because it's so easy to just scroll on by.
Like it's crazy.
Again, not too much. We don't get too much, thankfully. Like the occasional.
We have gotten something before that said, this one hurt me. It said, I look like your mother.
Oh yeah, that's crazy.
You had Dom, you look like her mom. You look like Ariel's mom. That's wild.
I'm 2 years older. Like
that's wild.
It was.
It gagged me.
It did. Like, it really did hurt.
Oh my god.
We almost didn't make it to this podcast.
Yeah.
For that. And that was a while back too. That was like in the beginning when we first started. But that was rude. That was tough.
Yeah, super crazy.
So that was the very first comment that I seen that actually hurt me. I was like, what?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. No,
yeah,
I
now I
love that.
ignore them.
Yeah. It's just like, high restriction on the approval, just like delete that stuff before. Because,
Yep.
I think I wanted to say this again. I said it to you guys before, but thank you, for the work that you're doing. I think it's super brave and creative to sacrifice, your personal story, your personal life to, share and, I call it be a vessel for somebody else, like, help somebody else. And so I'm super thankful. Before we kind of head off, what is one piece of advice you would have for someone who's on their own queer journey?
I think I would say just try to ignore the noise, like tune it out as best you can, because at the end of the day, this journey is yours. It's nobody else can live this life for you. So you're gonna have to live with the choices you make, the decisions, the things that come out of those decisions. So make sure you're choosing for you, and make sure you're in a safe environment to do so, because I know that's really hard aspect of our community that we know so young. So that's a gift, but also a curse, because we can't really like do much out if your family is like, super conservative or closed-minded and things like that. So make sure you're safe and make sure you are focused on yourself in that journey, in your journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah. For me, I would say that life is a journey. It's not a marathon. And there's so much beauty in these ups and downs that go along with it. I think a thing that we as humans like to do is to only see the positive, and like you can't have the sun without the moon. You can't have the ups without the downs. Otherwise, you won't be able to appreciate the ups. So I think it's beauty in all of it. I think it's beauty in the gray areas as well. So that's
Absolutely.
what I would say.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it all.
Yeah. No, definitely. I love that. I love that. Tell the people what they can expect from you guys next, if you can
Ooh,
share anything.
so this beautiful human right here
Well,
is
thank you.
spearheading like another sector that we're going into as the word queer.
Yeah.
As y'all know or don't know, she's a psychotherapist, but also an awesome relationship coach. And so that is another area that we're diving into, is relationship coaching that we're offering now. To take appointments on the word queer.
Awesome. There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll definitely make sure I put the link on the episode.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Yeah, so it's right on thewordqueer.com. Yes, I am taking clients for relationship coaching.
There you go. So y'all who need some relationship coaching, tap in.
That's it.
Tap in.
Yeah.
Proven track record, long-term relationship. They not just out here talking. They've been in a relationship for a long time. They got their own data points. There you go. Nice. Dom, Ariel, thank y'all so much for coming on the Queerly Blax Show. Definitely super grateful for this episode. Y'all already know, man. This is another episode of the Queerly Blax Show. I'm your host, Ashley. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.